All right, everyone. Last looks. Right on set. Roll sound. Sound speed. Roll camera. Camera speed. Scene one. Take one. Mark it. And action. Hi, I'm Ed, the host of Savannah on Film, and we explore the economic and cultural impact and values of the film industry in Savannah through conversations with people who work in the industry and related fields. You can find us here on WRUU-LP, Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings, community radio with global soul. Hello, everyone. Hello, the world. I'm your host, Ed Ciucevich, and welcome to another wonderful episode that I'm sure you're going to thoroughly enjoy of Savannah on Film. And my guest today is a very accomplished actor and a good friend. We've known each other for several years, and he's done a lot of film acting, theater acting, and especially if you're local to the Savannah area, you know him very well. And but before I introduce my guest, let me tell you why we're here. Our purpose here is to explore the economic and cultural impact of the film industry in Savannah through conversations with people who work in the industry and related fields. We are here, very proud to be here on, and if you can see the video, I'm wearing my WRUU 107.5 Savannah shirt. I'm trying to get in the camera angle there. And if you're on the radio, you can't see that, but you can see us later on YouTube on Savannah on Film, where we're going to premiere the entire interview, the video interview, right after you listen to it here on the radio. So that's at Savannah on Film on Facebook. But anyway, we're here on WRUU 107.5 FM, LP, Savannah, Georgia. We are Savannah Soundings, community radio with global soul. And just a little housekeeping first. We are in our fundraising mode these next couple of weeks here. So we'll have some information on how you can contribute to WRUU if you appreciate the wonderful content that we have from the nearly 100 people that we have at the station, approximately. And we bring you all this content, and we do it all free of charge, our time, our labor, and all of our hard work. We've got such diversity in our programming. You won't find a station like us anywhere in Savannah, and probably not most places, at least on this planet. I don't know about other planets. I haven't checked them out yet. So anyway, if you feel like giving, there's WRUU.org. You can go to, and there's a little donate button there. And we're going to have some more information later on the show from some fellow hosts, some people at the station. It's going to tell you a little bit more in depth about it. So I just wanted to put that out there for you. So thanks to WRUU. They've been our home here for Savannah on Film since June of 2016, and we're going strong and doing great, and hope you're loving this, all these great actors, directors, and people in the film industry we love to bring to you. We love fascinating stories and fascinating people. And speaking of fascinating people, my guest, he has been on the show before, and it's time to bring him back. It's overdue time to bring him back. His name is Clinton Cowart. I want to welcome you, Clinton. Welcome officially back to Savannah on Film. How are you doing today? You doing good?
I'm still here. I'm
You're
happy.
still here, okay? And in 2020, you know what? That's saying something, right?
I'm doing a lot.
Um, yeah, the world's turned upside down, but we're making the best of it. And uh, let me tell you just a little bit about Clinton, and then we're going to get into the reason why you're here to just find out some information, some interesting stuff, and Clinton's view on the world and film and his career as an actor. And as I said, Clinton's been an actor in several films. He's overcome many obstacles in his life to get where he is today and to where he's going in the future. And he is generally, I say this, he's one of the kindest people I know. He's a real gentleman, very professional. Um, he's probably one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. And nice is coming from me as a compliment. So I'm saying nice is a very good thing, and we need more nice people in this world. And just some of his qualifications besides being an actor, which is his passion that he's been following, and he's been off and on with that throughout his lifetime. He took a break from acting for a while, and we'll talk about that. And we'll talk about how he got back into acting and this and that. And but Clinton holds a master's in human resources and computer information systems. So that's in human resources, a master. So he knows about a fellow human resources guy. So there's a connection that we have there. He has a bachelor's of business administration and information system, and he was just maybe one quarter or so short of a bachelor's degree, but he ended up with an associate of art in generalized studies also. And if I messed up anything or left anything out, let me know, Clinton. Okay. But
I wanted to do opera. That was
you wanted to do opera? Well, I mean, seriously, you wanted to do opera?
that's what I was very close to working on when I first went to college.
And what happened? You just kind of life got in the way.
I lost my passion for it. The music.
Passion for it. Well, that's an interesting point that you bring up there, because I know a lot of people that are in the industry, like in the film industry. You get into the film industry or even in theater or something like that. But or you start out, in one position. You're like, I know this is my passion, and then life changes, or the person changes, and then your focus changes, and you're like, well, I kind of I want to go left instead of right, or right instead of left, or up instead of down, and I want to try something new. And there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, that's admirable to be able to do.
Very close to transforming into probably a disgruntled musical teacher.
Oh, we don't need any of those. No disgruntled, please. But
what would have happened? I probably would have ended up teaching music somewhere in high school or in college. And I wanted to basically be all performance. And when I lost my passion, I just walked away from music. I stopped playing the bass guitar. I stopped playing the violin, and I stopped practicing on opera, pretty much.
And those are hard things to walk away, especially because you're a creative person like I am, and it's hard to put those talents by the side, and it takes guts to try something new. So where did you go from there, from that point? Did you go into HR, or was it a long winding road, as they say?
I made the left turn on Albuquerque and went years. I went from being a complete extrovert on stage constantly to being an introvert in the basement with graduate students writing computer language code. I mean, a complete left.
Were you like the guy in Office Space with the red stapler? I just want my red stapler.
No,
in the basement there. Remember when they?
I was a guy in the international student organization that was in the basement that learned about 3 or 4 words of Chinese to communicate with my fellow students who I was up at 4 in the morning writing code with.
Yeah, I didn't mention this, but you bring that up. Your second language, you were a tutor in French.
Correct.
So I'm not gonna test you on any of your French because I wouldn't know if you were saying it right. But you can speak dialects of French, German, Russian, if I'm correct,
Uh,
and
Only
Korean.
dialects. I can actually speak the language of French on a
Okay.
level, and I can read on an intermediate level, and I can write in French on a basic level. As far as the other languages, I can just, pretty much take the dialect. I can't actually speak, read, and write.
Right.
Now,
Well, I can't do any of that.
I,
I struggle with English. Some people might say.
well, I can speak basic Korean,
Hmm.
but it's just really difficult for me with Korean.
Really? Yeah. I mean, English. People say is hard to speak.
Extremely.
It's. I guess it's with the past and the future tenses of words. I'm not exactly sure, but um, it takes a lot. Let's see, gosh, you've done a lot. You were in theater. Now, when did you start out in theater? Like what age were you generally?
1980.
1980.
I was about 10
That
years old.
was 40 years ago, right? Okay. Pretty good for a 20-year-old like yourself.
Yeah, really.
And me, yeah.
I started in acting way before I entered music.
Okay.
So I was like the 10-year-old little boy,
Hmm.
and the first acting gig I had was on a CBS movie as an extra. My mother got me into acting.
Oh, really? What was she in the arts as well, or?
Oh yeah, yeah. My mother, when she was young,
Mhm.
she was in ballet. She was in small beauty pageants. She was in tap. Um, she was very outgoing.
Cool, cool. So you kind of got that bug from her, right? The little acting bug, I guess, and the
And the
performance
music,
bug.
and the music I got from my father.
From your father. Okay, cool, cool. Yeah, I mean, we're usually a good mixture of of what our parents did, and we take it to that next level, which you certainly have. And so, I mean, you like you said, you did. I'm just looking at some of your stats here. You did opera for 2 years. You studied and performed that. You mentioned you played violin. You did that for about 3 years.
Yeah, I
And
did that I think in elementary and part of middle school. Yeah, I did it off and on for a while.
you're even a man of music. You played electric bass guitar for 7 years.
Yeah,
Um, you know, Unrelated to that, we lost Eddie Van Halen recently, and what a master guitarist he is. And I saw that little tidbit. It made me think of him, and just as someone that really studies their craft, that really recreated or created a new way of playing. Do you ever with your varied skills that you have in your acting, does it always help you in other things that you've done? You worked in HR with your consulting company. um what's that? Cowart Consulting. Yeah, there we go. You Have you found that to be like, and then have you found ways that you see that you have evolved in your creating?
yes, dabbling in music and acting, and then entering into the technology field, and then transforming into the employment law field in HR. I see a lot of things that I guess other actors don't notice on set. Um, Sometimes it can be a hindrance because you forget how free the theater is and how free the actors are.
And you don't really get a second chance. It's not, you don't get another take when it's theater. You if you flub a line, you power through it, I guess. And you audiences can not be so forgiving sometimes, I imagine.
I will admit, in my interpretation, other actors won't disagree with me. The theater is a lot more difficult for me. I enjoy it more, and it has an extreme addictive euphoria. Because when you nail it, you nail it.
You get that instant gratification, right?
Uh, Film is easier in many ways, but there is no instant gratification. You have to wait. You have to see how it's edited, how it's finished. So it's kind of
and then your film comes out, and then you have to have the trolls on social media have their way with it. Especially if it's a big film, and then no one's happy, and then you're just like, can't we just enjoy the film for what it is? And then but
I like film better, but I have to admit, the theater, I think, what attracts most actors in the theater, pardon me,
yeah,
is instant gratification. I mean, when you nail your lines, your performance is good, you know it.
You feel it. Yeah, you feel like you're in the zone, you're in that flow, and you're just like, and there's probably nothing like it. And I say there probably is, because I'm not an actor, so I would know. But but the actors I've interviewed, they almost overwhelmingly say they love theater acting. And there are some people that are better theater actors than they are, actors in film and television, and some vice versa. Yeah, so because we all come to the game with a different set of skills or a different level, and we hopefully all improve over time and practice, right? We develop our skills and take them to that next level. So
and as you know, in the theater, you have to amp everything up.
That's true. Everything's got to be kind of over the top. That's true. That's very true. And
exact opposite on film. You got to tone everything down.
Is TV, do you have to tone it down even more for TV, or?
I mean, that's been my experience.
Your experience. Yeah, because theater is just, especially if you're doing like something like Shakespeare or something that everybody knows. And if you're trying to do a different take on something, you have purists, that say, oh, it should be, that line should be enunciated that way. And but then some people really appreciate a newer take on things, so you're not going to please everybody in anything you do in life.
But what I love about theater is when you do something incredibly hard, like let's say a musical. I've only got a couple of musicals, and I will admit they're intensely difficult, but wow, the payoff is working.
It's working. And so if you had to choose between film and TV and theater, I think I know the answer. What would it be? Or has it changed?
Film.
Really?
I love the euphoria from theater. I have a great admiration, especially for people that do musicals, and I know how difficult they are.
Right. You understand the process. Yeah.
I gain more pleasure from film and television.
By the way, my guess was theater, because we're talking about I thought you were going to say theater, because there's different act. You can tell a little bit, and I don't mean this in any bad way. I mean this in the most positive way, but you can tell people that have a bit of theater when you're on set, like on film or television. You can tell the people generally who came through a theater background versus the ones who didn't.
They have the same problem that I had in the beginning, toning it down.
Right.
Like I said, when you're on stage, you gotta amp it up. Right. Every facial expression, like with my hand, every movement, projection of your vocals.
That's right. Yeah, you've got to be able to the person in the back of the room's got to hear you as clearly as the person right in front of you.
And when you're doing musicals, you not only have to deal with projection, you always have to be mindful of what octave you're on.
And me not being a singer, I'm going to take your word completely on that one, because I don't know what octave. People tell me I sing from my throat. I didn't know there was a difference. But you're supposed to sing from like your abdomen. And,
Yeah, well, yeah, you're supposed to take in your whole diaphragm.
Yeah.
And project.
Yeah.
They also have camps that I think middle schoolers and high schoolers,
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't.
Camps. I don't know if they have them anymore, where you get exercises to project your voice, whole notes, all of that.
Well, it is about moving muscles in your body and working things in conjunction. So I guess there's some logic to that. I never thought of that. That's very interesting. So we talked about some obstacles that you faced in life. What has been some of the biggest obstacles that you faced in the industry and otherwise? Can you point to any specific things or overcoming anything?
Well, in the beginning, it was being typecast. And then later, it's just giving, the auditions, because, people are very weary of amateur actors or new actors or actors, they're unknown like myself. And they're worried about, is this person worth taking a chance on?
Mm-hmm.
I can't blame them. So getting your foot in the door is always difficult.
Yeah, that's true. In any department in film or TV and all that. Yeah, just getting someone to take a chance on you to say, hey, let's give this person a chance. And
I know that what worried me most when I first entered is I wanted to change my direction. I can get typecast, or at least I did in theater, as the protagonist. And I want to play more roles of the antagonist. I want to be the bad guy.
You want to be the bad guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Not.
I found characters that are usually the villain in a story have a greater depth and conflict in their personality, and I find that interesting.
Most times, if you look at a lot of like superhero movies, for example, they say a lot of the heroes are defined by their villains, how strong their villains are. You can look at Black Panther as an example. You can certainly look at Dark Knight, Batman and Joker, in just in that genre of film, but in all genres, it's that struggle between good and bad or whatever. And it's nice to see that the majority of films coming up now, they don't just stereotype a villain as just, this villain is just bad.
Right, you want to be able to.
They have depth in their character.
Yeah, you want to be able to feel sorry for them. If you can just deliver a little bit of humanity into the antagonist that you're portraying in your performance, and you can get the audience to empathize with the villain.
Right. If they feel that empathy, yeah.
Then your villain will have a greater impact because it's delivered in a tragic.
Well, talking about like superhero type films, I think of Thanos, probably one of the greatest written villains in, modern history and in superhero, the genre of films, because you really can understand his logic, as flawed as it is. Or as sadistic as it is, he really believes, a villain like him really believes what he's doing is right, and
well, some of the greatest villains in novels and comic books or in film are the ones that they're willing to sacrifice everything for the greater good. In other words, the ends always justify the means. Whereas I think a lot of the protagonists or heroes, whatever you will call them, they believe that no, that's not true. The ends do not justify the means. It's how you get there, not the end result. And this is an argument that has gone on for history since the beginning of humanity.
Right. I mean, it's kind of a yin and yang thing. You can't have one without the other. They're kind of two parts of a whole in a way. And yeah, it's interesting. So yeah, it seems like it would be more fun to play a villain. Like you could get,
It's a lot more fun.
Like deliciously evil is a way to describe it, because you can really go, like I think of Joaquin Phoenix, what he did in Joker, and how he, this is a person you feel total sympathy for, and the terrible ending, to how the film ends up. This person that society, you wonder if he is the protagonist or an antagonist. It's
Well,
I don't know.
Here's my opinion. I think best villains are the ones that after you watch them on television, film, or read about them in a novel, wow, I'm pretty close to becoming that way if I had made different decisions. And, when you can put yourself in their place and realize how close you came in your life to making those same bad judgment calls, then you've done well in your performance of a villain.
And seeing the proper portrayal of a villain, in all the complexities of that character, I feel like brings a new dimension to it all, and it's a form of escapism, and it's definitely, you can live those bad thoughts without actually, of course, being that way in life.
I think it's good emotional therapy for some people. They can
Yeah,
live.
it is, and this is something I'm thinking about, because we can't have a show in 2020 and not talk about the COVID in the room. There's no COVID in the room, by the way. Completely sanitary here, but the elephant in the room is COVID-19, which there's a good chance we're going to go into 2021. It looks like, possibly, we don't know, with COVID-19 still around. But hopefully in a more controlled state, hopefully a vaccine, hopefully better measures, and what I'm getting at is that, we have hard times in the industry. And I know that you were able to adapt your acting via Zoom. You worked on a film that's, I think, in post now, called The Representative. And you did something that's a little bit unique, but I mean, everybody's jumping on board and doing it. But this film was made via Zoom. Is that correct to say? And so, I mean, what is The Representative about that you can tell us without spoiling anything? Or can you tell me? What's a tagline?
I hope I don't get in trouble with directors. I'm gonna try to be very careful.
Well, if it's going to get you in, any problems, please don't.
I don't know what I can or cannot say.
Let's give you the biggest generalization about the film. So let's just talk. Okay, let's talk about the technique. How was the tech? Let's just pivot this way and talk about doing The Representative, that film. You did it via Zoom. How does that work with the actors, the director? I mean, how did you coordinate it? What are the logistics? Can you talk about that?
I think the difficult part was, as we're dealing with now, sound, lighting, and pretty much the logistics is having the correct equipment and presenting it in a way that fits the storyline. And fortunately, the director and the producer and everyone designed a story that works perfectly with video conferencing formats.
Okay.
And so the video conferencing format is, well, This story is designed for it completely. And when you see it when it's released, which will probably be in the beginning of 2021, it might be earlier, I don't know. I think you'll be entertained.
Okay.
It's about power, and it's about family, and it's about making difficult choices.
Okay, but not much more you can say about that.
I don't want to. I remember the director or somebody talking about it to me.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, so we also have there's another one that it's in development called Fixer, and
Yeah.
you can't really talk about that because it's still kind of in development, but it may be related to possibly.
It's kind of like a sequel or continuation of Representatives.
So. Okay. Interesting. So so we're looking at 2021 for that, for the Representative, like you said, coming out.
I don't want to say that because I want
approximately.
I want to give them time to get together. I mean, if they come out with it earlier, that's great, but I don't
know. Let's see. So yeah, I'm just looking at your list of some of your films, and I want to talk a few that you worked on. There was one called let's see, The Session.
Yeah.
Which Kenneth O. Butler II, Ken's been on the show before, and he's the director of that. I think that's one that he's also you've worked a lot with him.
Yes, I have.
And there's also one called Perfect Match that you guys worked on, Crushes and Quota, or just to name a few. And I think he's really proud of The Session, and maybe Perfect Match. I don't want to speak for him, but what were your experiences like working on The Session? And can you talk about what it's about?
Well, working on The Session was just kind of like when I thought about the character, was I thought about a couple of people I knew growing up with. Mm-hmm. And, it was an easy skin put on. And the person that helped deliver to me what they wanted and, the personality that I was supposed to convey was Ken. He works with you, he's patient, and he makes his direction easy to understand. He puts everybody at ease. I really like working with him. It was a pleasant experience, especially with many of the actors, because I knew a few of them from the theater.
Right.
And for some of them, I don't know how many exactly, it was their first time experience on film.
So it was a learning experience all around, at least for a majority of them.
For about 2 or 3.
For 2 or 3, okay.
Although I knew them in theater, they haven't done film with me or anyone else I know.
Which goes kind of back to what we're talking about, the difference in theater actors coming to film and vice versa. Yeah. And so what was were there any did you learn anything through that enhanced what you do now and how you act, or what did you any lessons? Because I think every film that we work on, every project that we work on, we gain a different kind of knowledge. Did you is there anything specific you can think of?
Pretty much about how to let go.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's important.
Yeah, which I have a difficult time doing.
Do you like to totally be in control, like those kind of roles, essentially, or is that what you're saying?
No, I focus too much on the details because in the theater I had to know every line, every mark.
Right.
And sometimes in film, you have to let go and sometimes we go outside of the script, which we don't do very often, but when we do, sometimes you have to improv.
Right. Well, this is probably a good point for us to take a quick break. Everybody stay where you're at. We've got a few announcements here, and our first announcement here, we're during our pledge week this week and next week as a recording of this episode, WRUU. And so we're going to have Lee talk to us real quick, and then you're going to hear some other information here. But just going to talk to us real quickly about WRUU and some of the great programming that we have. So just stick with us, and we'll be back in a few minutes or so with more with actor Clinton Cowart here with your host Ed Ciucevich on Savannah on Film. We'll be right back.
How long have you been listening to WRUU? If you're a longtime listener and haven't yet supported us with a financial gift, now is your time to give us your support. We won't ask you any questions. Our forgiveness is unlimited. You know that you should be supporting this all-volunteer community radio station because you enjoy it, and scores of volunteers donate hundreds of hours each week to make it possible. Other listeners are sharing the burden of paying for this radio station's expenses, so why not you? It's quick and easy, and the amount is up to you. And whether you've been listening a few days or a few years, thank you for your support of WRUU 107.5 FM. We need your support. All of the in-person fundraising events we normally have throughout the year have been canceled because of the coronavirus. Supporting WRUU with your financial gift is very important to us. Some of the largest expenses that WRUU pays each month go to bringing you the actual over-the-air signal that you listen to and enjoy. We pay rent on our studio location, and we have a monthly tower rental fee. We have internet and telephone fees. We have broadcast engineering fees to fix our connection between the studio and the tower when something goes wrong. We pay fees for all the music we play and separate fees to stream our music broadcasts. We have no salaried staff and very few administrative expenses. Everyone is a volunteer. So rest assured that your contributions go directly to bringing you the programs that keep you stimulated, entertained, and informed. Individual donations account for most of our income each year. Do your part today. A contribution in any amount lessens the burdens for everyone. No one else is going to do it for you. Make a financial contribution at wruu.org. And thank you for your financial support of Savannah's best local talk radio, as voted by readers in the most recent Connect Savannah poll. WRUU 107.5 FM.
This is a message from the Georgia State Department of Public Health. Social distancing means minimizing contact with people. It also means that if you are near someone in public, try to stay at least 6 feet away. The less contact people have with one another means the less opportunity for the virus to spread. Slowing the spread of the virus means that we can keep our healthcare system from becoming overwhelmed. More information can be found at dph.georgia.gov. Disasters don't stop even during a pandemic. The Red Cross is here to help when disasters strike. They respond to a disaster every 8 minutes. They help people to prepare for disasters, and they help prevent disasters such as home fires. The Red Cross saves lives by providing blood. And now, free COVID-19 antibody testing is available when donating blood with the Red Cross. More information about Red Cross services and donating blood can be found at www.redcross.org. This is WRUU-LP, Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings, community radio with global soul.
And we are back here on Savannah on Film. I'm your host, Ed Ciucevich here. We're on WRUU 107.5 and in Savannah, Georgia. We're community radio. I went. This is live radio. We are community radio. Okay, we are community radio. I had it right with Global Soul. We're Savannah Soundings, community radio with Global Soul. I'm sorry, my brain was not working there. I just yeah, but we're here on WRU 107.5 FM in Savannah and on www.wruu.org. If you choose to give a little bit and go and click that donate button on our website, you'll see that's where you'll be able to contribute and help us keep this great programming that we have going on, like this show, hopefully that you're enjoying. And we're talking with a gentleman he has more degrees than you can shake this pen in my hand at. And he's an HR consultant, but his true love is acting. This man can act, he can dance, he can play guitar and violin.
Used to be able to play guitar.
Used to be able to. Used to could. I used to could.
Guitar, yeah, basically.
And he's just a really wonderful human being. And so I wanted to talk about, we were talking about theater and talking about acting. And we touched a little bit on this or I meant to, if we haven't already. How have you actually filmed anything during the COVID pandemic, or has it just been the representative that you did via Zoom?
Well, I went to 2 in-person auditions, and I went to 1 testing for COVID. I didn't get the audition, by the way. And
hopefully you didn't get COVID.
No, I didn't get that either.
Okay, I just feel the need to say that.
I did testing for COVID to be considered for like a side job as an extra, but they didn't, they didn't need me.
Right. Well, the industry's trying to come back, and I mean, it is coming back slowly. I personally think we all need to do our part, put that mask on, and that's my personal opinion. But we need to do what we can to minimize the dangers to ourselves and to others, and so we can get back. We see AMC is not sure if they're going to make it through the end of the year as of the recording of this, and Regal's temporarily closed, so we don't want, if you're like me, and I'm sure you are, Clinton, you don't want theaters to close.
Well, I know something. It's difficult adapting as an actor because the whole reason you're an actor is to have an interpersonal relationship with your audience, especially if you're in theater. Like I told you earlier, actors feed off of the audience when they're in the theater. And now that the theater drama is pretty much crawled to a halt or stopped altogether,
Right.
I feel bad for all the people that had plays in production. As for film,
Yeah,
I think if they just follow the regulations carefully and are mindful of others, especially those with pre and post conditions, that they can make this work. They can still film, and they can still successfully create television commercials, and movie projects. What I'm worried about is the delivery, like AMC and Regal movie theaters. I don't know if the movie theaters are going to survive this. I seriously doubt it. I think we're going to have to really reconsider the drive-in movie.
I know I've discovered drive-in movies, and they've been great. And maybe I'll go to one this weekend, but that's the safest way that I have felt. I did venture out once into the AMC, my local AMC, and I will give them props. They were doing everything I could even imagine.
I know, but
give you the safest possible experience. And
it's my opinion now that people would be far more eager to return to seeing movies if we brought back the drive-in theater. They would feel safer. And even after the COVID's no longer an immediate danger, it's going to take a while for people to feel secure enough
that's true.
to sit in a building.
We were hoping by the summer that, a couple months of this, we thought, we'd bounce right back, and then people would be, everything would bounce back, but it didn't. And
More than just the disease, it's also a way of life. After it affects the economy, it'll affect the mind, and it'll take a while for people to emotionally recover to where they feel safe again to even hug someone. much less shake someone's hand.
Yeah, no, I can remember the last mixer that we had locally. I think it was back in February, and I remember shaking people's hands and the fist bumps and all that. And this was before COVID really was, before we even knew it was a thing in March. And in March, the whole world shut down in mid-March. And I can't imagine now. It's like I don't know if you do the same thing I did early in the beginning of the pandemic. If I saw somebody kiss on a film or TV or something, watching on TV or whatever, or somebody shake a hand, I would go, you can't do that. There's kind of like you said, that mentally where we've kind of been forced to change our thinking almost overnight. And, where, we'll wave at somebody that used to be kind of rude, now you'll like wave from a distance, and,
Homer, I think it's going to take America longer to emotionally recover to where they will start.
well, what's happened is a lot, America has fallen behind other like European countries and stuff, and some productions had resumed. And then, of course, now they've had a second wave in different countries. But we've a guest on here that we're talking about, how had we done it right here in the U.S., that maybe we'd already be partially back to work. I mean, we've seen some of the NBA was able to have a season in this bubble, and it worked. Tyler Perry did Sista's season of that show in the bubble, and it worked. And if anybody got sick, they got tested, and there's so many zones. And then we know the DGA, the PGA, they've all put their set of protocols out there. My question to you is, how do you feel about the low budget, ultra low budget films? Because I know it costs money for testing and turnaround. And I have to ask this of,
I think one positive element throughout the entire COVID-19 epidemic and scenario is I believe it will give an open door to small filmmakers to finally get a chance. I mean, if you want to look for
I agree with that, yeah,
a rainbow in all of this, I think that's the one positive thing that we can derive from this entire situation is maybe beginning creators, beginning filmmakers will finally have a voice,
and
finally get noticed.
right. I can attest to that in the fact that we're talking going to drive-ins. I saw some films I'd never heard of, were never even on my radar, and were pretty good films, and they weren't super high budget films. They weren't tentpole releases, but I saw them at the drive-in, and it's not as expensive, depending, if you get food or not. But I might have had to drive about an hour to the nearest drive-in that we have. But all in all, it's been a good experience, and it's and I think, yes, I agree with you totally that this is the time that if you've got a film, maybe, and you're a smaller filmmaker, you've got a better chance of it being noticed, because we are seriously getting close to a point where new content is over. There will be, even if like everything went back tomorrow, production 100%.
Well, production is far behind.
Right, that's what I'm saying. But let's say if everything all of a sudden we started filming stuff tomorrow, it's still going to be months and months, and who knows. This can before we actually see those finished products. And
Positive comment on all of this, and it's going to give a small filmmaker that has been bypassed, ignored, never given an opportunity, a chance finally get noticed. Now, it's horrible that it took a pandemic to give these small filmmakers in America a chance, but it's still an opportunity that any small filmmaker would be foolish to ignore.
But I must reiterate the fact that my concern is that the low budget filmmakers, the ultra low budgets, especially the maybe no budget films, that they may hopefully they're following safety protocols, and not just to protect themselves, but to protect the entire crew. And
Well, you have an HR person or someone that has some familiarity with the regulations of the city, county, state, fed, and of course, with just basic safety rules, they should be fine. The problem is when you don't have anyone in your crew that deals with employment law, OSHA regulations, or the new rules that we're learning about, especially, with this ex-pandemic that hopefully is coming to an end.
yeah, I'm just looking at some stats right now as we're recording here, and they're not pretty. But I just hope that we can move forward. We can find a way through this. I'm a optimist, so I know that people are going to put safety first before their ambitions, and we need to make sure your number one priority is making sure you have a safe production space for your cast and crew.
Well, as long as you're mindful, the elderly,
and it affects everybody.
People with post and pre-existing conditions, they're most in danger.
Mm-hmm.
And they're mindful of the regulations. I don't think we should allow fear to overcome us in any industry. I think we just have to balance our, our hesitation and worry with the basic rules of safety. But I don't think we should put everything on hold again. I think we should go on with our lives. We just have to do things differently now. That's all.
Well, I very much follow the science of it, and so it's still very imperative, I believe, to have those safe areas, and I think people will respect it. I just wonder if you don't have the budget for it. Are you going to skim corners? And I hope people don't do that, because
I don't think you really need to worry about budget for it, because most people have their own math, because it's regulated in so many counties and cities now in every state. Yeah. Number two, all you really have to have a budget for is testing, before you allow anyone on crew grounds.
I want to ask you this question. Having an extensive HR background, how did that? Because we both have HR backgrounds and then went into the film industry, which is ironic. And how did that prepare you for the industry, or did it? I know there was some probably, your first time you showed up on set, you were like, oh, red flag. It's like, we're, because we have ingrained in us about HR. You know how that is. If somebody's in the industry,
6 or 7 OSHA violations when I walked onto my first film set, and I'm like, I can't believe they did that.
And it's not to say the industry is unsafe, because the industry's made in the past several years, especially, a lot of strides for safety.
What it is that they have a time a schedule, and they have to meet it. And when it comes to any city or town, wherever you're arriving from, and they tend to hire interns. Well, interns, there's a lot they don't know. It's not their fault. And the whole point of having an internship or your first beginning job or crew on the film set is you're learning.
Exactly.
The managers have to be aware of the fact that the people they're hiring as an intern or training or whatever, you have to teach them. They don't know.
Sure, that's true. So what's up next for Clinton Cowart?
Hopefully, I'm going to do a couple more auditions. I might venture into doing some auditions out of state.
Okay, good. And probably some of those will be via Zoom or whatever platform, I suppose. It's the new normal that we're learning to live with. We're gonna we've got an announcement here, another announcement coming up, and then we're gonna close the show here on the radio. But I invite everybody to join us Saturday at 8 p.m. after this premieres on WRUU 107.5 FM in Savannah. and WRUU.org. Join us on YouTube. Clinton and I will be on Savannah on Film on YouTube, and we'll be going through the video premiere there. So you can bring your questions and comments there and interact with us. And that's Saturday night, 8 p.m. So I want to thank you, Clinton. Don't go nowhere, but we're going to close out the radio show portion of this. And anyway, we're going to hear from, we're going to hear from Rob. He's going to tell us a bit about WRUU and why you may want to help us out to keep this wonderful programming going on. And I want to say thank you, Clinton Cowart, for joining us. And we've got a lot more to come. We'll see y'all on YouTube with the rest. And here's a little information. And then we're going to roll out the outro. And then we'll see you guys later. Thank you for joining me. Ed Ciucevich here on 107.5 WRUU and Savannah on Film with Clinton Cowart. All right.
How much would you pay to listen to WRUU? It's an important question because every person who has financially supported this radio station over our 4 years on the air has had to place a value on that support. If this radio station were like a parking meter, you would be paying $1 per hour. If this station was like iTunes, you would be paying $1 or more per song. And if this station was like the washers and dryers at the laundromat, you would be paying $10 or more a month to make it go. So pretend your radio or internet stream can't work right now, and you need to feed it to make it work. We know you wouldn't walk away because you listen. You value our independent voice on the radio dial. Without the support of listeners like you, we can't work, and we would be off the air. Tell us right now how much we mean to you. We know WRUU means something to you. Thanks. All of the in-person fundraising events we normally have throughout the year have been canceled because of the coronavirus. Supporting WRUU with your financial gift is very important to us. If you made a one-time contribution to WRUU last year, consider changing that to a monthly gift this year. Monthly gifts help you help WRUU. They help you by spreading out a larger gift over a year's time. $10 a month is about 30 cents a day, but it adds up to $120 of support each year for your favorite radio station. Monthly gifts are automatically renewing, and you control when they start and stop. So there's no need to remember when your year of support is up. And we can count on that support every month to bring you great radio programming. We use the super easy PayPal website to make the transfer from your card to our account. And you might already have a PayPal account. If not, it's one of the most trusted online money transfer methods that you can use for all types of online shopping. Go ahead and become a monthly contributor now. Find the details at WRUU.org. And thanks for supporting Savannah's best local talk radio, as voted by readers in the most recent Connect Savannah poll, WRUU 107.5 FM.
You have been listening to another episode of Savannah on Film, where we give a voice to the Savannah film community. Please like our Facebook page, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow us on Twitter. This program was originally broadcast on 107.5 FM in Savannah, Georgia, and worldwide on www.wruu.org. Join us next time for more intriguing insights into the vibrant Savannah film community here at Savannah on Film. And we are back here, and now I'm projecting into the future. It's now Saturday, and hopefully you've enjoyed our first hour here of Savannah on Film with actor Clinton Cowart. And we're this is our bonus portion here on YouTube. If you're joining us or you have already joined us here on YouTube, I hope you've enjoyed the show so far. And ask a few things of you. If you would please click that thumbs up button on the video here. It really makes a difference. It helps our channel grow here on YouTube, Savannah on Film. We really appreciate it. You can also subscribe to the channel, and you can enable notifications. So when we have new content such as this, you'll be alerted to it. And so I hope you're enjoying this video premiere here. And I hope at this point you've been interacting in the chat room with Clinton and I. So I'm projecting in the future as we're recording this. And for the video portion, welcome back. You didn't go anywhere, Clinton, but you enjoying this? Is this fun?
Yeah.
Cool. It's always great to talk to you. We've had some interesting conversations about a lot of things. And Clinton's just a great guy. He's I don't have to sell you on this guy because he sells himself really well. He has a master's in human resources and computer information systems, which is kind of like IT now. It's kind of merged, right? A little bit. Yeah, okay. A bachelor's of business administration and information systems, and an associate of art in generalized studies. And on top of that, his passion is in acting, whether it's in theater, where he cut his teeth, as I guess is acting euphemism there, and to film and television. And I noticed that you were in where is it? Underground, the TV series. You played a high society party guest in that TV series in 2 episodes of Underground. What was that like?
Actually, that was really fun. My costumes were a little hot, but it was pretty fun playing dress up, and some of the sets, it was really nice. I mean, it was like going back in time. I've been an extra with a lot of productions. I used to miss them. I did miss Underground because it's after I came out of my self-exile.
Yeah, because you took a sizable amount of time off from acting, which some people do, and you and I came at the film industry at different spectrums. We both kind of came out of an HR background, and you still have that. We still both have that element.
I think I walked away from acting around the beginning of 1992.
And why was that? Can you kind of pinpoint? You just needed to change, or?
I was conflicted about, should I follow my passion or should I be an adult and responsible and sure.
And the marriage of the two is the perfect thing, isn't it? When you can find out a way to make a living. And it's not easy in the film industry because it is feast and famine, and it's who you know. And we've talked to several people at vast different levels of the industry, and it's not for the weak-hearted. It's not for the thin-skinned. It's a business. It's kind of dog eat dog.
You have to realize what you're entering into, and I think a lot of people they just jump into it and step into it, and they don't really do a lot of self-reflection. Do I really want to put everything on the line? I think the best way to explain it, my perception, is for me, acting is therapy. It's escape. It's like a part of me. And when I try to suppress it and not do it, I just can't function. So whether I make it or not, I would like to make it. But even if I do not make it, as long as I can be part of one production or another, one film, I don't care where I become famous or not. I have to do it.
I mean, I understand what you're talking about is having that passion for it. It's like, I'm a content creator, not just on YouTube, not just on Facebook. I'm a podcaster. I'm also radio show host. I mean, I love sound, so a lot of what I do is centered around sound, being a sound mixer, and but I'm also a published poet, and was working on a book of poetry I was actually going to put out in 2020, which looks like it'll be next year at this point, but because 2020 changed a lot of things for everybody. But when I'm not creating, I feel like I'm wasting time. If I go through a day and I'm not doing something creative, something that's, of course, there's you need time off to recharge and all that, but I get what you're saying about like acting is, it's like whether it's theater or whether it's film and television, when you're not doing it, it's
How do I put this in a way that you understand? When I walked away from acting, I didn't know the effect it had on me. When I re-entered acting in 2015, it was like waking up from a long sleep. It was like I came alive. And I knew, wow, this is where I should have stayed. I would have never known that if I didn't venture into other career fields and industries. And now that I have, I know I should have never left.
no. But
2020, so
but the thing is, I think is not, and I'm not saying that you're doing this, but for some people we can focus on what we should have done, what we could have done. And I think all in all, it's good not to have regrets. I mean, it's good to learn from mistakes. It's good to learn from choices that you made, but you made those choices sometimes at that time, what you probably thought was the best or the most responsible thing to do. I totally understand that. I worked in the corporate America for 28 and a half years. And then I followed this passion to be in the film industry. I never thought it could be something that I could actually do. And growing up loving film, television, and I could live in the theater. I love film and TV and everything. And I love the radio industry. I love sound and recording and sound design and different things like that. So I never thought, I can make a living at it, but sometimes it's feast, sometimes it's famine. When you have a corporate job, you get that steady paycheck. And when you're younger, it is easier, or maybe it isn't these days, because mindsets have changed a little bit. But at least when I was younger, it was easier to just get to do as my parents did and, build that career. It was a job that became a career, and I worked my way up. And I enjoyed it. I mean, there was good and bad. But I kind of put the creative side on the back burner a little bit. It wasn't the major focus. And when I got to a point where I was lucky enough to step away from the corporate life, which I do miss it sometimes, but when I was able to step away from it and try to really cultivate the creative side of me, it was amazing how freeing that felt. And it felt like this is the place I'm supposed to be. And, but you have seasons, I call them seasons. And, where even after, a year or two in it, your focus might change. Like along the way, my radio show doing a radio show. This radio show became a possibility, and I've grown it into more than just a radio show. And I've got to meet and talk with so many fascinating people, such as yourself, and who knows what the future holds. But it's amazing how life can be, isn't it? How you can think this is the way you're going, and then it changes.
I think what impresses me or astonishes me, my mother knew early on that my niche was acting before I knew. I don't know how she knew, but she knew. I wish I had recognized it myself. But my mother was a lot wiser than I ever realized.
Yeah. Honestly, the older I get, the wiser I realize, my parents were. At the time, they don't know anything. What do they know? They know a lot.
Yeah,
Find
my
out.
mom recognized in me immediately, and she knew that I belonged in in acting.
It's just that thing of, it's like coming alive, that feeling when you know that this is your passion that you're following, like acting in your case. And that it must be so gratifying to be able to do that. And you know, on the reverse side of it, we've talked about this on previous shows, sometimes, like, this is the perfect example. 2020 is the perfect example where it happened for everyone. The film industry stopped, everything stopped, life stopped, you know, and readjusting, reinventing ourselves. I just feel like this is such a great opportunity. As tragic as 2020 has been, you know, to people and their families and their friends, and you know, the unfortunately the racial strife that we've had this year, it's all like growing pains, I feel like. And I feel like we're all going to move forward, or at least I'm optimistic that we are going to move forward, and that we're going to be much better and much more cohesive in the fact that, you know, we're going to move forward into that next level of just creativity. And I'm really hoping, like, the rest of the 2020s are just fantastic. I mean, look back, 2020 is this year with an asterisk next to it. You know, this was this was the point where we all stopped, and then we reevaluated, and we just reached like stellar heights, all of us.
I think the greatest lesson we can learn from this year is that we all, you know, simply want food, shelter, health, and happiness. And I think sometimes we forget about that. We allow our physical differences, or our philosophies, or our ideologies to get in the way of the fact, look, we're all human. We all want food. We all want, you know, the basics. And I'm sure you remember Maslow's pyramid, you know, or shall we say hierarchy.
Right.
And what people need to understand is we all just want a happy, safe, productive life. And I think once we identify our basic needs that are universal, we can solve the rest of our issues, not only in the country, but in the planet.
Right. And I mean, that's beautifully said, Clinton. I really think so. Yeah, we've got to, I feel like every challenge that I'm given, the older I get, the challenges that are put before me are just tasks for me to work out, to figure out how to become better at, whether it's just learning technology better, or learning how to do something differently, or learning to be a better person, or to be more responsible, respectful. I don't know, you know, whatever it may be, you know.
Well, that's the entire quest of the human spirit, to evolve and become I'm being tongue tied, to become a better version of who you are.
Yeah, to be more than the sum of our programming, to put it in a sci-fi kind of way. You know, we're all evolving, and like the roles that you've played from theater when you were a kid growing up, and then into film and television. You can probably look over the body of work you've done, and do you see? I'm sure you see how you've advanced as an actor. What are some ways that you think that you have advanced? You have evolved, maybe your technique or something, or how you approach roles?
I'm pretty proud of the fact that my speech is improving in each production I do. I'm proud of the fact that in many roles that I have portrayed recently, I can actually forget that I'm me. I can actually see myself as a character. So I'm slowly improving. And although others may not notice it, when I have the capability to notice it, it makes me feel good. But I'm slowly crawling up the ladder, and my performances are getting a little bit better each and every time.
That's awesome. And I mean, that's really all an actor or a person in any profession can really ask for, is that, you know, that creatively we grow and we're able to like, if you want to play the bad guy, you're able to tap into that even more. You're willing to take that chance and say, hey, cast me as this. I'm not always the good guy. Let me be the bad guy once in a while, and I can really show you something. And it's amazing how many people, like comedians, that turn to serious roles. I think of, unfortunately he's gone, but Robin Williams, he started out in comedy, and one of the most brilliant comedians ever.
Mhm.
And he transitioned into more warming roles, and just can, to a point where he got to really serious roles.
Well, I think people forget that in order to be a comedian, and I know some local comedians, well, sort of know local comedians in Savannah,
Right.
you have a certain complexity and depth in your soul. Comedy is hard. It's incredibly hard. And the people that throw themselves out there and are able to take their tragedy and turn it into a twist of humor, that takes a vast portion of intellect to achieve. People that have that ability, they tend to be wonderful at drama. I don't know why, but they just have a gift when it comes to dramatic roles.
Yeah, it's amazing. I've always been in awe of people that are able to transcend the boundaries, or the thoughts. There are traditionally actors that they get typecast, and to be able to break out of that, to try different roles, for the audience sometimes to allow them that freedom, because there's been actors before that weren't able to break out of the mold. People couldn't see them in a different light. And I feel like now we're a little bit more open to seeing people flip the script, as it were. We're almost to the point where we expect someone to, it's like, people may think I'm crazy to say this, or I don't know, but I think somewhere along the way, Tyler Perry is going to have a very serious role. And I'm going to put myself out there. I bet you he's going to get nominated one day for a performance that he does, a serious performance. I feel like he's one of those people like Robin Williams. And I'm not trying to, for any Robin Williams fans out there, I'm not trying to say it's similar, but I feel like he's someone that is going to surprise us. And I like those surprises. I like those people, because he did Medea, and there's people that love Medea,
I think he's going to be able to harness his pain and transform it into a fantastic performance on camera.
yeah,
Usually the people that have suffered greatest calamities when it comes to emotional or physical pain, if they find the key of how to project that on film, they knock it out of the ballpark. And yeah, I think
it's like actors like, De Niro he can do comedy well, but it's those roles where he doesn't do it as much now, but he transforms his body, kind of like not River Phoenix, Joaquin Phoenix did for Joker. He totally transformed his body. Christian Bale does that. And I can name a lot of other actors that have done that. Actresses as well, of course. When I say actors, I mean actors and actresses.
I admire that, and I think it shows. I think it shows an art form that we've forgotten about. People that have the ability to reach into the depths of the darkest portions of their memories and pull out a side of their personality that no one knew existed.
Right.
That is just beyond imagination for me, and I admire people like that.
Yeah, that are able to find that depth of character that
I hope one day I can learn. I don't know if I can bare my soul like that, but I hope one day I somehow figure out how to present that.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see you. You've done some fun comedic roles, and you've had some more serious roles. I think you could really handle a good drama. I think you would do really well. I personally think so. And so anybody there watching, if you get a serious role, or if you need a just really good villain, Clinton.
Well, I would take a difficult role,
Yeah.
even if it was dramatic, just to see if I could do it. Because I would like to learn how to just bear my entire soul on camera.
It's like I once heard this phrase, and I don't know where I heard it, but um, somebody was talking about one of the Marvin Gaye songs. What's going on? And he's like, man, you can hear their words were, and with some interview, they were talking about the songs this a long time ago. And he said, you can hear Marvin bleeding on that track. It's like, and what they're saying is it's pouring out his soul. And that's kind of what you're talking about. You're just like enacting, just like totally leaving it all there on the stage, leaving it on the screen there, and just getting to that depth, finding that core part of your character.
Well, remember Schindler's List?
Oh yeah.
I can't remember the actor's name. I want to say it's an actor that played Schindler.
I'm not gonna I don't have time to look it up. But
Anyway,
I should know this. I mean, that's a brilliant masterpiece of a film.
that was a masterpiece because the portrayal of that actor just pouring everything he had out. I mean, how put it? It was moving how he portrayed Schindler, a person who's supposed to be the antagonist, and at the end is pretty much, in my opinion, the hero.
Yeah, I mean, that's a phenomenal film, and I'm trying to look it up here. I'm not good at it on the fly here looking this up. The
Liam Neeson. That's it.
Liam Neeson. Okay, yeah, Oscar Schindler. I should know that.
But he poured everything he had at the end when that scene where he was collecting the ring that was created to him as a gift, given to him as a gift, and you saw him break down. He was reaching in the deepest portions of his soul to display that to all of us. That impressed me, that scene.
That's a film with Ralph Fiennes and Ben Kingsley, who are phenomenal performers, just to name a few.
It's an old film, but I loved it. Yeah.
93. I'm looking at 1993. Yeah, it's one of the best films ever made. And wow, you took me there. I was thinking of it.
I can give a performance like that.
Yeah, and what do you think it takes as an actor to get to that level? What advice would you give to other actors, up and coming actors, with the knowledge you have?
Everything you learn growing up, reach into the darkest portions of your subconscious and let out all the pain, the greatest pain that you've ever experienced.
Wow.
And let it flow.
Let it flow. Wow. I feel like we need to lighten it up. Talk about a comedy or something, but no, that's very good. Very good, Clinton. What is the ultimate part? Is there like a certain part in a film or a certain role that if you could have one wish, and the film could be a big film, a small film, whatever, is there one character, one performance that totally inspires you that you wish you were able to portray, either that character or that actor? Or
There's actually two.
okay.
I would like to play a Bond villain. It's very complex.
Oh wow, okay.
The second I like to play a certain comic book villain, and I like to do it in a complex way.
Can you say?
Lex Luthor. I would love to play Lex.
Yeah, he's highly intelligent. You know,
And
he's the
there's
smartest man on the planet. So
one actor that's portrayed Lex Luthor in a manner that I greatly respect. Michael Rosenbaum. I like the way he portrayed the character.
You and me both like Smallville. You know, there's some people that you know, a little put off by it, but I totally love that show.
I know it was designed for teenagers, but the way he portrayed the complexity of Lex Luthor, I just really admired. I know most of it was the writers, and he had a long time to develop the character.
And this ties into what we were talking about earlier, because he's very much a comedian. He is an incredibly funny guy.
He's very, I've seen him on interviews, and I think I subscribed to one of his channels. He
has like a podcast or YouTube channel or something.
He's full of energy, but the way he portrayed that character of Lex Luthor in that television show, I just really admired it.
I'm looking across my studio and seeing all my DVD sets of all the seasons, and I think the last couple ones were available on Blu-ray of Smallville, all 10 seasons. And it's Tom Welling was a phenomenal actor. There's a lot of good actors in that series, but yeah, for that dynamic between him and Michael Rosenbaum's Lex Luthor. Playing Lex Luthor, man. I can visualize that. I can visualize that. And
I love his portrayal of Lex Luthor and how I don't know if he made the other audience members, but he made me empathize and feel sorry.
Oh, totally. You totally empathize with him, because
I mean, it's very rare where you can feel sorry for the man.
John Glover, I think is his name, that played Lionel Luthor. Yeah, who did a fantastic job as Lionel Luthor. I mean, he's a relentless businessman. He's about Luthors, are better than everyone else. Luthors never give up and Luthors never fail. And Lex just really, Clark had the life and the family, his adopted parents, Martha and Jonathan Kent. He had the life that Lex
always wanted. He had unconditional love, strong moral
compass, for that for Clark, and then
his life was the opposite competition,
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of actors have portrayed Lex Luthor, and they portray him differently. But yeah, I do love Rosenbaum's version of Lex Luthor, and just that in Smallville really dug into the fact that they start off as friends, and then several seasons in, you start seeing the darkness and him arise in Lex Luthor. And it's because he's kind of closed off from that love, in this insatiable need for power and for knowledge.
I want that role. That's what I want. I want Lex Luthor.
Well, when you now have a Lex Luthor role, you're definitely coming back, or hopefully before then, and talk about it. But yeah, so and what was the other role you mentioned?
I want to play a Bond villain.
A Bond villain. Because you can do the French accent there, obviously. Maybe you can do a German or Russian or Korean accent, or
I don't want to be a small henchman or anything. I want
to be in the mastermind. You're the guy sitting there like, yeah.
I just want the villain to have layers and not be simplistic.
I get that. And that comes down to this. Everything comes back to the story. We talk about that. It's how well your story is written.
I think with the correct type of writer, a Bond villain that you would expect to be fragile, to basically be a victim, someone you think needs saving, and they turn out to be the most evil thing you've ever seen. Wow. When a plot behind the plot behind the plot, I think that would make a more interesting villain.
Probably one of my most favorite empathetic, at least in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, was one of the best villains is Loki. I mean, Tom Hiddleston's Loki wasn't supposed to be in all these films, but he was so popular. People like just how, Loki's more mischievous in the comics, but I mean, he can be kind of sadistic too, but Tom Hiddleston played him so likable, and just so you kind of felt sorry for him because he was like the adopted child, and he never felt he had Odin's true love, that he loved Thor more than him, and and there's that father son dynamic. Yeah, and then you have I think of Killmonger, which some people say is the best villain. He's not my favorite villain, but he's very well written in Black Panther. And so much so that when he dies, we'll put that in quotation marks, Killmonger at the end of, Black Panther, because who knows, if deaths in the Marvel universe are, they hardly ever stick, but a few of them have. But his character was so well written. Killmonger's character was so well written in Black Panther that that Black Panther himself, basically, he was right. Killmonger was right in what he had to say, and you understand his motivations, and so Black Panther opened up Wakanda to the world.
Yeah.
For better or worse, we'll see. But
look, what people don't understand.
Such a great, well-written villain.
Villains are the ones whose cause is legitimate. It's how they go about it that makes them villains. When you can sit there and they have a point. Yeah, it doesn't make it all dry.
The geek in me could not sit here and not mention. I've already talked about Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, but Joker from The Dark Knight.
Heath Ledger.
Thank you, Heath Ledger. His name was escaping me for a minute, but the way he played off of Batman made Batman such. Christian Bale did a fantastic job as Batman, one of the best to ever portray the role, at least on film. And
Heath Ledger's version was more psychotic.
It really was. It was closer to the comic books, and
he wanted to prove that humanity were nothing but savages that pretend to be civilized.
And
he wanted to prove
that famous interrogation scene, and then even the end where he's kind of dangling, when Batman saves him, he's like, "You couldn't let me go. You just had to save me." And he's like, and he was talking about Batman breaking his one rule, and you're going to have to do that. And it was such a test to Batman's morality and what Batman was. And really, Batman was who Bruce Wayne was. Bruce Wayne was the mask. He was basically, Batman was who Bruce Wayne really is.
Yeah.
And so that was an interesting way Nolan looked at it, and that's a masterpiece of a film.
The whole objective of the character in the story was to prove that anyone under the correct circumstances will violate your ethics. Anyone. If you present them in the correct environment, that was what he was trying to prove.
And if I remember the quote properly, the Joker's hanging upside down, and they even do the upside down camera angle, and then turn it right side up. And he said, anyway, how did he say it? He said, Joker said, "You'll find that morality or insanity they're similar. All it takes is just a little push. It's like gravity or something like that. All it takes is a little push." And that's what he did to Harvey Dent. He turned him, Gotham's White Knight, into potentially the Dark Knight, and then we know how the rest ended.
Well, that was his theory, that if you present the right circumstances, you can make anyone evil. Anyone. If you put them in the right environment, you stimulate it correctly, you can make any good person a bad person.
Well, somebody will disagree. Some people may disagree with Harvey Dent saying early in the film that either you you stay the hero long enough, or something, I'm ashamed of myself for not remembering the quote, or you stay long enough and see yourself become the villain, essentially. I wish I wouldn't have brought this up, because now I can't remember the quote properly.
I didn't memorize it.
You know what I'm saying, but
I understand.
but so this is a fascinating talk about this, and I mean, I could go on and on. We could talk about the Dark Knight all night, and but
Is the character I want to play if I play in any type of comic book, film. I would love to play a complex, intricate Lex Luthor like Michael Rosenbaum did.
that's very, multi-layered, multi-dimensional. Yeah, I can totally see it. I can see you doing it, man, and all that. So, gosh, what else have we not chatted about, my friend? Let's see. We've talked about a lot of films you've been in and what you're doing next.
Well, I've been an extra in The Poison Rose, laying in the trail.
Right, that's true.
I've done a lot of work as an extra. I've been in Mr. Mercedes. I think I was in Righteous Gemstones. So I've done a lot.
That is a crazy show.
Yeah, it was a crazy show. I've done a lot of work as an extra, background actor, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
You might see me for 2 seconds in something you watched and not know.
I was kind of pushed into it, but on the Council of Dads, which
Yeah.
RP for that show. Yeah, there was one scene that I was in there when they walk into the crab shack, and literally, if you know the crab shack here in Savannah, they have the paper towel holders on the top of the table, and the paper towel holder was right there, and you could see the gray bit of my beard, maybe a little bit of my hair. My hair's not gray, but my beard was. But it was like a half a second. If you like froze it and enlarged it, you would see my face right there. So I had like a half second of fame as a background.
You can spot me trailer of The Poison Rose that has Morgan Freeman and John Travolta. In their trailer of the film, I'm in it.
Oh, cool. That's awesome.
I don't know how many seconds I am now.
Right. Interesting. So, so you want to be Lex Luthor? I can see it. You could definitely be the villain. You play a lot of bosses. I could see you playing Kingpin.
I don't know. I've never thought about that.
Yeah, because I'm thinking of comics. I think you could be Kingpin. I think because he's a bad guy. There's just nothing too good about him. I don't know how complex his character is.
I don't match the physical physique of the Kingpin, so they would have to.
But it's acting.
True, but
in a bodysuit, whatever needs to be done.
I like to play the Kingpin in myself. I might dress differently, but I'm not prosthetics on. I don't know. I don't think people would buy into that. If they'll buy into it, I'll do it. But
yeah. Let's talk about
there were a
what do you think? Go ahead.
Film that weren't released. I wish they were. Where I played a serial killer.
Well, that would have been interesting to see your range of acting. What about I lost my train of thought. Let's talk about Savannah, like we always do here on Savannah on Film. It's in the title, so I want to talk about it. And we talk about infrastructure in the film related. First, let's talk about film related. And it's rare I get to bring this angle to it, but objectives in the employment industry part of the film related. What are your thoughts on the HR aspect as it applies to the film industry?
I think we need to open more avenues for tech students, not just art students from SAD or any other university, but for tech students as well. We have a lot of good programs in Savannah that are kind of just being ignored. And I think we have a greater pool of resources.
What are some of those? Since you brought it up, what are
Well, I think maybe
example.
they have a program. And I remember a couple local high schools that have a program.
Okay. Yeah,
Uh,
I know the Georgia Film Academy, and they have expanded into the high school level with some of their new initiatives, which I think is pretty important to maybe get people into the industry sooner.
I think we also need to look at applicants from these different venues to give them an opportunity to learn on set so they can consider a career in the entertainment industry.
Right.
Right now, the only internships and student workers or beginning workers that I see on crews that are in the Savannah area are coming from art universities or colleges and not tech schools and not high schools. And I think you're missing out on wonderful employment.
An
Meaning,
employment pool of people. Yeah, because one of the points of this show is that I like to give a spotlight to those not just established in the industry, but those that are up and coming, and the average person on the street that's curious about the film industry in Savannah. I want them to hear from and see from professionals such as yourself and others in the different departments of film and TV and acting and all and stuff like that. I want them to see how accessible the film industry is for anybody, and no matter what your age is, no matter what your background, if you're differently capable, however the situation is, whatever you've done in your past does not dictate your future. And the film industry is one of those industries that's, I think, a little bit more forgiving than some industries because
well, the liberal arts have always been more forgiving when it comes to giving people a second or third chance, which I think is important. And number two, I think we need more career counseling in high schools and in other universities and colleges and tech schools. I also believe we need to implement mentorships for people are entertaining the thought of getting into the film and television industry.
I am very much for mentorship, and I'm very much for people that learning and you've achieved a certain level and giving back. I think that there's not enough of that. Of course, we should have more workshops. We should have more practical ways, not just for profit, and you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
not just the universities and that do a fine job and
We
turning
need
out film students, but we need more ingrained in there, and we need to, when people make it to a level, I personally think that people need to show more mentorship and they need to give back more, because it's not so much the analogy of, don't step on the people on your way up, because those are the people that, that are going to be passing you on the way down, but, or whatever the analogy is, but it's more for me, it's about giving back. And I don't think we do enough of that. I know we do in the industry, in the whole film industry, but I feel we could always do a better job.
I think we need to work more as a team and elevate each other. It's not a competition. There's enough room for everybody, especially.
That's true. And I mean, people will outbid you on jobs, and that's the nature of the business. And this is where people turn off the show if they, if they think we're going that route. But that's not what I'm saying.
People
What I'm,
act in the team and we motivate each other.
and,
We
and
care and we'll elevate a lot faster because
exactly.
we need to be competitive. There's enough in Savannah for all of us.
There is, and a few people don't need to hoard all the major jobs. There are talented people in the field coming up, and some of them may surprise you. They may be more talented than the ones that are more established. And not to take away from people that have worked hard and gotten to where they are. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I feel personally, when you get to a level, any level, along the way, along the journey, it's always important in life to give back, to share your knowledge, to
Uh,
build.
I'm
And
at
for there's I know there's filmmakers that have their groups of people. I've been in, little circles of people that work, and you find a clique and you work with them, and then you work with a few others. And I've worked in different groups, and there's certain people that, there's nothing wrong with that. And that's how the industry is. But I would like to see more intersection of people of different ethnicities, different backgrounds, different
More diversity, versatility. That's what you want.
diversity and versatility. Most definitely. Those sound like HR terms, definitely, but they can be applied to the film industry and should be. And I mean,
Bothers me personally is when I meet someone and I recognize they're talented, and because they don't have the right support amongst the city and the professionals that work in the city, they give up and they walk away from the industry. I met at least 2 or 3 actors. They're not acting anymore, and I think it's an absolute tragedy because they had intense performances right off of the bat. I mean, they were extremely talented, and it just left the venue altogether. And I think it's a big loss because I recognized their talent immediately. Wow.
and it's not, yeah, because I mean, being a sound mixer, you hear the film being made, and you're like, you get to see it too, and you're like, wow, this is even some stuff. I've been on productions where, professional productions, and I've been on student films, and I've been on some student films where I'm like, there was one I did it because of the script. I did it for nothing because I was like, I believe in this script, and I want to help this filmmaker out. And we all go through those different stages. And it's a shame though that sometimes you have to make you have to make a living, and you have to balance the realities of that with what you're allowed to. I don't want to say the word allowed, but sometimes it feels like what you're allowed to do. Like there's people, like you're saying, at certain levels that they can break through to the next level. But I've seen people that have blocked people, just out of their own fear. And then maybe it's because they see the good coming up behind them. But I tend to be the more positive, optimistic person that says there's good in everyone. I sound like Superman here, don't I? Since I'm talking to Lex Luthor here, and you're like, your Lex Luthor's about, it's a shame Superman has all this power and he doesn't share it with the world. That's selfish. That was what Lex Luthor would say, right? But Superman's always trying to help everybody, and he's believing in everybody. Not that I'm Superman, not that you're Lex Luthor, or at least I don't think you are.
I'm gonna get the part one day.
You might be a Bond villain, but yeah, I want to see this industry in Savannah be a full-fledged industry. We are not just for the big productions to sweep into town, pump millions of dollars into the economy, which is great, and then hire everybody's PA in this department. There's nothing wrong with that, but I want to see more of the filmmakers that have these wonderful ideas, that make these very poignant films, these short films that go to festivals and win awards. I want to see people back them financially, and I want to see them get behind creators that come from Savannah, that can only come from Savannah, that would have that unique, because Savannah, every city is unique, but Savannah is unique in its own way with its history and its present and its future mixed together, and the nice mixture of people that we have in this, just in the city alone. I want to see, I know that when you put all that together and you mix it up, that you got some great filmmakers with totally different voices, coming up.
I think we have to approach it from a business standpoint. If we can just simply gain the trust of the investors and get them to see that the Savannians have the ability to turn a profit, I think they're more likely to invest.
And I'm going to be frank here, or instead of being Ed, but we've had a lot of projects that have come through here that people are proud to work on, and they're great situations. But not a lot of them have been major hits. We've had a few, ones that put us on the map. There's the Forrest Gumps, there's the Garden of Good and Evil, there's um, Ford versus Ferrari. There's a lot of other ones I've left out, and I'm sure even bigger. But there are a lot of like shows and all that just come in, and yes, they employ people, and yes, people gain skills, and yes, they move up, and yes, they get into the union or whatever, or they go on to make their own stuff, or vice versa, or whatever the situation is. But we need more quality programming, and we need more. I want to see more local based film and TV productions, and we need a sound stage. We talk about this, and
that all comes to investors. If we can show the investors that will not only even, but we can turn a profit, they're more likely to invest.
right.
And what they don't understand is we have everything that we need in Savannah.
Except infrastructure.
Infrastructure.
Sound
And
stage.
take the investment, it will turn a profit, but it's going to take visionaries, people who can see what I see and what you see.
Right.
It will take,
Or what Tyler Perry sees, what he saw in Atlanta and what he did. And look what he did. And he created, well, I don't know if he created it, but doing things in the bubble, he was able to find a business way that's safe to work on a production. And
I'm saying, once we find the female and the male visionaries that know right off, immediately that Savannah has untapped potential, they'll invest their money. They'll create the infrastructure. We need to bring more visionaries to Savannah and get them to see what this city is about.
And I'm going to look dead in the camera when I say this, so for especially our YouTube audience here. But if you are a local filmmaker, if you are at all discouraged by 2020, you're looking at 2020 the wrong way. No matter how horrific it may have been for you, for all of us, and still is, this is the perfect opportunity to be digging in, to working, to grinding and making those projects and making them happen, and getting to know people and getting people to notice what you're doing and to get your work out there. Come 2021, you're going to be much more in a much better position when you realize that you put that hard work in and it's paid off, and out of the ashes, great things can become. And I really feel that will be, that should be the mantra for people, going into 2021, especially locally. We need to work hard.
Let me make something clear. Think of 2020 for what it really is. It's the muse that you've been waiting on. It's the opportunity that you have begged for decades. It's here now. Now is the time to make it happen. So anyone in the entertainment industry, whether you're a director, a producer, or you're an investor, 2020 is giving us an opportunity to excel beyond any of our dreams. So you need to act now, not later.
Well, Clinton, that we could talk forever, but it's probably time to bring this show to a close, and I think that's probably the best way to really close it. Thank you so much for being here on Savannah on Film, for returning to the show. I wish you much success. I'll be watching your career very, very closely, and there's always a seat available for you. It may be in your house or wherever you're broadcasting from until it's safe to be wherever. And but to all of you creatives out there, keep creating, keep dreaming, write about your experiences. 2020 has given you a wealth of new material.
Remember, nothing is impossible.
Nothing is, and you'll never know if you don't do it. You'll never know if you don't apply yourself and your God-given talents, as I believe. So thank you again, Clinton, for being here. Thank you, everyone. I ask once again that you please click that thumbs up button on the video. It's right down there somewhere, the thumbs up button. And it really helps the channel out. We're really trying to grow here on YouTube, Savannah on Film. Please tell your friends about our channel. And if you subscribe to the channel and also enable notifications, you will be notified next time we have another one of these video premieres, and we're going to have much more coming in the future. A lot of great guests I've got on tap through 2020 into 2021, and I wish all of you the best. Please stay healthy, take care of yourselves, your families, your friends, your cast, your crew, your talent. Everybody take care, and I want you all to know that you can thrive and you will thrive. So just put that mindset in there that you are going to thrive. And I guess with that, this video is going to come to an abrupt end. That's just how it is. I don't know how to close it. I never know how to end it. So thank you again, Clinton, and everybody for watching us here on Savannah on Film. I'm your host, Ed Ciucevich. And you saw we're on WRUU 107.5 FM Savannah. I don't know if you can see my shirt. And thanks. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.